Rambam Hilchos Kriat Shema Perek Chapter 3. A person who reads Kriat Shema should wash his hands with water before reciting it. He has makrioso de matzamayim kelim shikra le akra krioso v'yelach lavakish mayim. Amekanech yota ba'ofrei b'sur b'kedek yitzvah v'kera. Rambam says if the time to say Kriat Shema arrives and for whatever reason he cannot find water, he should not delay reciting Kriat Shema in order to find water. Rather, he should clean his hands with earth or stone or a beam or anything similar and then recite Shema. Based in Kolel b'beis hamerchas v'beis hakisei afal pi she'ein b'tzeiah v'beis hakvoros v'beis halameis atzmai. Person should not say Kriat Shema in a bathhouse or a bathroom, even if there's no piece of material in it, nor in beis hakvoros, a graveyard, or next to a dead person. If he distances himself 4 amos from the grave, so then he's permitted. Or the mace is permitted. Anyone who says Shema in the improper place has to recite Shema again. Now, what if you have a new bathroom? There's a latcher in there, but it's newly built. It wasn't used yet. So Shema could be recited opposite, but not in it. And when it comes to a new bathhouse, that is permitted to say it inside. Let's say there's 2 buildings, one which was designated to use as the bathroom, and the other one, the guy said in this. So now, so now there's a doubt regarding the second one. What did he mean? So a person should not deliberately recite the Shema there, but if he does after the fact, yes. Amar Gam Zahar Shneim was a monument Kenim Bahar. If he said also this, both of us designated for this use, and by the Shramim, we said in the Hatzamachas who Amakush Adam by the Lusham was the Gishbek Nishma. It's permitted to recite the Shema in the courtyard of a bathhouse, and it was the place where people would stand clothes. Now, for the Kriat Shema Bavad, Alakol Indian Shu Medivri Akedish, also number is a merchat, and basically so our food on the fail. Not only Kriat Shema, nothing pertaining to matters of Kedusha may be uttered in a bathhouse or louder, even in language other than Hebrew. Like the Amr Bavad, Alafila Har, really be do retain, basically based on merchats, Makamat and well, welcome to Shish Mitzvah, Meraglan, Masa. Not only speech, but even thought pertaining to the words of terror forbidden in a bathhouse. Other unclean places, a place where feces or urine is found. Hey, Dvarim Shalchel Mutil Amr Blushing Kedish, Vesakisi. Hela Kanu, Racha, Vachanan, Vadam, Kesa Banan. Mutil Amr Vesakisi. Secular matters can be discussed in a Vesakisi. Similar to terms like divine attribute, merciful, gracious, faithful, it can be uttered as well. Hashemesh in Michadam and Hashemesh in Michadam, Lasa, Laskin, Vesakisi, Vesakisi. Hashem's name, which you can't erase, 7 names that you can't mention, in a bathhouse, in a Vesakis, and a Besa Merchatef. And it's not only the Havard, but other less Besa Merchatef, Vesakis, and Merchatef, less in Kiddush, but Binyani Kiddush. If a situation arises where it's necessary to restrain someone from wrongdoing, that he could use Lashon Kiddush. The Vav, Tzeis Adam, Tzeis Klav, Chazim, is Mashiach, Pesach, and Edis, and Chotzeis, and Echanah. Again, Edu also do Kriat Shema in England. Shema may not be recited in the presence of human feces, or a dog, or chazar's excrement, or skins are soaking in it. In the presence of any other feces, like these have a bad smell. This is also the case regarding V'chin Keneged, Meid HaGlaim Shel Adam, also the urine of a person. Meid HaGlaim Shel Be'ema, when it comes to the urine of a Be'ema, that's Keneged, then you can, and also Gott ist hier auch, sei es doch, bis der Schiff auch Gott und Krishim. It's a dog in Machikan and it says, so a person doesn't distance himself from the feces or urine of a child who was unable to eat the weight of an olive of grain cereal. The time which the adult could eat in her mouth had proven to the weight of 3 eggs. Person is not allowed to read Kriat Shema next to the feces, even if they're dry as shard. As a call for mutal. If they were so dry that if thrown away they would crumble, one could recite. If urine that have been soaked up on the ground is still sufficiently wet to moisten one's hand, the Shema should be recited. Should not be recited. If it dried sufficiently, then it could. How far does a person have to go is arbamis. When it's front and behind, on the side. If they're in front of him, then he has to move the distance that he can't see it anymore. Let's supply when he's in an enclosure with them and they're on the same level. If they're on 10 tvachim higher or lower than he may sit next to them and recite Shema since there's a space separating them. As long as the bad smell doesn't reach him. They were to uncover the feces or urine when the vessel would be considered as buried, even though it would still be in the room and it's permitted to recite the Shema next to it. Halacha Yud. Person who is separated from feces by glass partition may recite the Shema next to them, even if he can still see them. If a quarter log of water is added to the urine, the Shema may be recited within 4 arms of it. If feces are found in a hole in the ground, the person may stand with the shoe over the hole and recite the Shema. However, a shoe may not touch the feces. I should discuss the care. If one finds very small feces the size of a drop, you may take it out with thick saliva. Never said Shema. I send a t-shirt, say out so that you have tenafis basic issue the head like the khalam the cotton and you shusan with the increase if you should when there's a residue of feces on one's skin or one's hands are dirty from the washroom, if because of the small quantity of the dryness there's no foul odor, he may recite Shema since there's no foul odor. When Haisim came out from Misha in the nearest Shraim and Hilb and nearest, she is was the Kriat Shema Perek say Allah if it's still in the place, even if it's not visible, he stands. Since it's visible and he sits, it's forbidden to recite Shema until he cleans himself very well. Why? Because of the moist nature of the foul smell of the feces. The common gainim, Hilchos Kriat and Hilchos Kriat. When the gainim taught that one is forbidden to recite the Shema if one's hands are soiled, it's proper to heat their tissues. Yud Beis Riach Nashi is the Iker Marchikat Ba'alamas V'Kedem Psosakariach. When the mucker of the foul odor has a distant substance, one may distance himself 4 amas and recite the Shema, provided the odor is subsided. When they Pasakariach Marchikat Makom Shabasakariach, if not, then he has to distance himself further until it ceases. V'Shein Iker Pimish Yotzim Min HaRuach V'Mato Marchikat Makom Shetich Le'Aleach. If the odor is not emanating from the actual substance, it is the result of someone passing gas, she distances herself until the odor ceases on another side. Graf said Eva Avish from Mina Glayim also the Kriat Shema Connected Afal P, Shein Bem Klum Bein Lahem, Reach Rab Neshem Kvisa Ke Beis HaKisei. So also there say Shema in front of a cesspool or a chamber pot, even if it's empty and there's no foul smell, that's similar to Beis HaKisei. Tzei Veres can get you a shelter of their mind, most of the Kriskanegda. And all the rest of the Kriat Shema while facing, moving, it's like garbage moving, floating on the water. Or Pichasir Tzei Veres dummy, mouth of a pig is regarded to as Tzei Veres. Also, Likris, Kenegde at Shiavrin Mana Abramas. You're not allowed to read facing it until you move it 4 hours away. Idalit. I used to pay it out, Vigil Mokam Tanivas, the Anir, the Alpivi, Ukrael, Yafsel, Shiavrin Mesa Mokam. Person who comes to an unclean place while he's walking, while reciting Shema, should not just place his hand over his mouth and continue. Rather, should stop until that particular thing moves. What does it say that Shema passes gas? He should stop until the door subsides and resume his reciting afterwards. When another person passes gas, even though one should stop reciting the Shema, he may not interrupt his terror. As a mutadikris. Person is permitted to continue reciting the Shema if a doubt arises whether feces or urine is found in the house in which he is located. Person reading the Shema, a garbage heap is not permitted to continue reading if a doubt arises regarding the presence of the feces until he checks well it's clean because of the garbage heap. I was submitted live. I feel but if a doubt exists only regarding urine, the Shema may be recited. Tez Zayin. Hashem Shastikis connected Sayam, we made a glaim, Ashiashi Kakasa, the Kis connected ever, Ashiaxa Panav. Just as we have all these halachas not to recite Shema when there's feces, urine, etc., you're not allowed to recite Shema in the presence of nakedness until one turns his face. Um, the halacha applies even to non-Jew or child, even if the glass partition separates him from them. Since he sees them, he must face away in order to recite Shema. Any part of a woman's body is regarded as erva. Therefore, one should not gaze at a woman, even his wife, while reciting Shema. If even a handbreadth of her body is uncovered, he should not recite Shema facing her. Just like his other ervas, his erva as well. If you have, let's say, a belt or something over there, even though everything else is Arum, with the difference Kriat Shema, as long as the heel is not touching his genitalia. If it's lying under his feet, but is otherwise naked, he should make a separation of placing his sheep below the heart, and then I said Shema. She's not able to make a separation from his neck and recite because his heart will see the nakedness, as if he is reciting without any loin covering. Halacha Yud Ches. Time for you two people sleeping in one cloak. Now, they're not allowed to recite Shema until the sheet also separates between them and a manner that prevents their bodies from touching from the loins downwards. If he is sleeping with his wife, children, or other young members of the house, so the bodies are considered like his own, and he is not affected by them. Even though the body is touching theirs, he may turn away his face, say for those harder said Shra. Adema saying Tang is Ashia Zocher when it's Demasishana, Mechel, Akim Basachas, Asishani Mechel, who is the Muslim Kitabas to Sishadai Mechene, the Sadidas to Mech. So one is well considered a child considered this matter, a boy at 12, and a girl at 11. When they reach the age, they are only excluded when the physical characteristics are like those of adults, develop breasts and pubic hairs. From this time onwards, one may not recite the Shema unless he has first separated himself from them with a sheet. Madina is down the fin of Siddha Timef, getting him a kid buster. It's a hefset of Shia, Zafalin, Yimozari, Mechal, Kiva, Pashtelis, Shala, Mechal. If they're not set, yet developed breasts or pubic hairs, may recite the Shema while lying in physical contact with them, and he not separate him separated from them until the boy is 13, and the girl is 12 years and 1 day. Kriat Shema Perek Dalid, Chapter 4. Women, slaves, and children are exempt from Kriat Shema. We should teach children to recite the proper time, the brachas before and after, in order to educate them regarding mitzvahs. We should leave a ton of a nechbaz that our mitzvah patim we call mitzvahs and Kriat Shema. Person who is preoccupied and is in anxious state regarding a religious duty is exempt from all commandments, including Kriat Shema. Chassan is exempt from Kriat Shema until he is married or Lefisha, and that the Pnei Shemol he must have stolen me. He can't think straight. He's distracted. Maybe she's not a virgin. Moshad Mutzi Shabbos leBol Chad the Christmas Mutzi Shabbos Beilach Shahadei Neskarda died to Libe Gaspaf Bishul Bol. Now, in the old days of the marriage, what are they? So, if he leaves until Saturday night after the wedding, does not have relations with her, he's obligated to recite the Shema from the time onwards. Since his mind is settled and he is familiar with her, even though they have not consummated their marriage. If a person marries a woman who's not a virgin, so then he has to say Shema, because even though he's occupied, it's not enough. Performance of the mitzvah is not distracting. Kolel. One was a dead relative for him who was obligated to mourn. It's exempt from Kriat Shema until he has buried him, because his attention is distracted from reciting Shema. If for a person, let's say, is a shamer, is watching the body, is also put to even if it is not the body of a relative. A person who's watching a body is also exempt. Okay, we did that already. When there are two watchers, one should continue watching while the other withdraws and recites Shema. And when the guy returns, the other should depart and recite Shema. A grave digger is also exempt from Kriat Shema. Now, made seen as amazed to cover someone's Kriat Shema and in a person should not be taken out of the burial clothes at the time of reciting Shema, unless he's Adam Gadol. It means too. It gives Manakriya Vedim loudness of mace. Because she's the man that you're bringing Kenesia. Mita Khalfain, Khalfa Khalfain, Beshel of Namita, Beshel Achar, Mita Pturna Sharm Lav, Shelamita, Zerbram Khayol. If they do begin to rule the deceased at the time of reciting Shema arrives while they are accompanying the body, anyone required to carry the coffin, for example, the bearers of the coffin and the replacements, and etc., whether they are before the coffin or after, are exempt. The rest of those accompanying the body who are not required to carry the coffin are obligated to recite Shema. Hey, how you assume master gives my Kriat Shema, Bisman Shabbos Munach Lefneim, Shematim Echad Ve'echad, the Kain V'chezin L'Hesped. Let's say they're involved in a eulogy and the time of Shema comes. If they're in the presence of the deceased, they should withdraw single and recite and then return to the husband. And it is mutal fun of them Kolel Kriat Shema all them ish of them Lefishin. If the deceased is not present, all the people should recite the Shema except the mourner will remain silent because he's not obligated to recite the Shema until he buries the relative. After the burial, the mourners return to recite condolences, and the people follow them from the grave to the place where they form a line to recite condolences. The people are able to start and finish even one pasuk before they arrive at the line they should. Now they should not start until they have Kolel in the morning. In Yechila, the hospital, we did already. The hospital, where I feel the pasuk echad kinim. שיגיד אשר יסכלו במאו ויסכלו על יד נחמס אבינו ואחר שפטרו ויסכלו ביד ואין בשלב כמי ישנדם פני אבינו פטרו בקריאת שמע אך יצאנו הל ואין ראה מסבינו פני בקריאת שמע. After though they have taken their leave, they should say the reciting. Those standing in the inner line, they can see, in other words, they can see the faces of the mourners are pater from Kriat Shema. Those who are outside, since they cannot see the mourners, are obligated to recite Shema where they are. Call me Shu Pater Kriat Shema and Rutz of the Hachmal Asme Kriat Kriat after Pater. So if you want to be machbar and read, that's fine. We'll stay directly alone as long as you that one is not distracted. And in but if he's in a confused state, he's not permitted to until he composes himself. All those richly impure are obligated to read Kriat Shema or recite the brachas before and after in their impure state. Even though when it's possible for them to purify themselves that day, when it was touched the sheretz, neither a zavar or couch on which these people laid and the like. As for the decree that a man who had a seminal mission was forbidden to read the words of the Torah. So they separated him from the others if they impure until they immersed themselves in the mikvah. But didn't really, most were unable to observe it and it was therefore negated. Nowadays, even if a Balkari, they read it, because the Vitir is not Mekabel Torah, it's always true. Like it says, and Mekabel Tumah, after Vitir, in Mekabel Tumah, it's like fire, just like fire is not Mekabel Tumah, so too, as well, it's not Mekabel Tumah. Briach Nachamon, the sign, blessed be God, of greatest assistance. Hilchos Tefilah and Birkat Yesh b'chol shtei mitzvos aseh achas la'avodas as Hashem b'chol yom b'tefillah, serving Hashem daily with davening, and shniya levarach kenim Yisrael b'chol yom, for the kenim to benefit the Jewish people each day. Ubim shtei mitzvos aseh l'mprokamilo. Aleph. Mitzvos aseh l'spal b'chol yom, shenemar v'vatam as Hashem l'keichem, it's a mitzvos aseh to daven every day, as it says, you shall serve Hashem your Hashem. L'piashmo lam d'shaved zuhi tefillah. B'Shmo, we learn that this is davening. Shneimar la'avdei b'chol avavchem, and Amru Chacham ezu hu yaved shebalev is tefillah. Be'emin tefillah is minatera. There's no number of davenings minatera. Ein mishnah tefillah is minatera. Nor does it prescribe a specific formula to daven. And that tefillah is markov minatera, and also there's no fixed times for davening. Well, the figure live for nashim avad d'chayim tefillah fishim mitzvah seishalez mangodam alachiyah mitzvah kaf she adam mischanam mispal b'chol yom umagid shivka shal kadosh baruch hu. Therefore, women and slaves are obligated to daven, since it's not a time-oriented commandment. It's a person is obligated to offer davening every day and other praises for Hashem, petition for all his needs with requests as obligations, and finally give praise and thanks to Hashem for the goodness that he has bestowed upon it, each one according to his own ability. Person is eloquent would offer davening a request. A person who was inarticulate would speak as well as he could and whenever he desired. The number of davening was dependent on each person's ability. Ish Mispal Pam Makas Bayev, some would daven once a day, Mispal Pam Harbor several times. Okay, Mispal Nechach Hamidish Pam Makal Shia, everyone would daven facing the Beis Hamidish wherever it might be. This went on from Mesh Teza. Even should only so minimal Hanasa Rushlis are the pyre, the Podas, the Yovan, the Shar Homis, Vanilla, the Bonum Bardis, Partsadim, Ace and Bunus Babbles, for some races, Raskalef of effort, the Devils will shed his hammer with Kirshay and the Dam of the Yellow Dabber, Gold Cecil Lushnavas, Al Bishish Nemar, Uvineum Hatsu Dabber, Ash Dadis. The Edema Kim Dabber, Yudis, Collection Ambom. When the Eden were exiled at the time of the book, and after they became interspersed in Persia and Greece and other nations, children were born to them, the foreign countries, and those children's languages were confused. Speech of each and every day was one concoction of many tongues. No one was able to express himself coherently in one language, but rather in a mixture of languages, as it says. And the children spoke half in Ashdodis and did not know how to speak the Jewish language. Rather, they would speak according to the language of various other people. So what someone would daven, he would be limited in his ability to request his needs to pray to Hashem. The other languages was mixed in. So what do? They institute a Shemoneh Esrei. The first three is a praise for Hashem, is Hidayah, so the davening can be said in the mouths of everyone. They can learn them quickly, and davening of those unable to express themselves would be this complete. It was because of this manner that they established all the brachas and davening so that they would be ordered in the mouths of Israel, so that each blessing would be set in the mouths of each person unable to express himself. Hey, they also decree that the number of davening corresponds to the number of sacrifices. Two prayers every day correspond to 2 daily sacrifices. On each day that an additional sacrifice was offered, the third davening corresponds to the additional prayer. The davening corresponds to the Shacharis davening. Is instituted at night. As we know, the burnt offering was an entire night, and it says the burnt offering shall remain on the Mizbeach all night until the morning. The evening, morning, and afternoon I will speak and cry aloud, and he will hear my voice. There's no chiyuv for the Ma'ariv. Nevertheless, every person is already accustomed to recite Ma'ariv and have accepted upon himself as an obligatory prayer. Zayin, we think that tefillas achar, tefillas mincha, shamach l'shkizacham, v'yamataris b'lvat, v'yilayis, tzchinim b'akash, v'yamataris v'zui, tefillas likas, tefillas ne'ilah. They also said ne'ilah, kalemar ne'ilah, ninalu sharei shemayim b'ad Hashem nistra, which means that the gates of heaven are closed behind the sun. Yishen ispal isa el shamach l'shkizacham, because they only daven this close to the time of sunset. Allah cheches. Tefillas b'chol yom shalish, which is 3 davening, ar v'shachas, mincha and shabbos Umedim Rosh Chadashim is 4 Arba Shalish called Tfilas Yom Tfilas and Sofim Yom Kippurim Chomish Arba Eilis to Tfilas Nila. Tfilas Elu in Pesach Mehem Abu Vasif and Aleu. Some of these davening will not be diminished, but may be increased. If Ras Adam Lispal Kalayim Kula Rosh Hashanah, if a person wants to daven all day, he could call this not Tfilas Yosef when Makrim and Davis. When he does this, it's like a free will offering. The figure of Tzarech Shechalish Avrachol Rachol Rachol and says Mein Avrachas. Therefore, when you do this, you have to add something. Me'em Chidesh Afilu Rachah Has Daye. Even if you add a little bit, that's okay as long as you show by showing this as an adav and not a chayv. However, the first 2 and last 2 you cannot add or diminish. Halacha, your last halacha, ein at sibur mispal tefillas nadava if you should answer and being korban nadava. A community does not recite its tefillas nadava because you don't bring a korban nadava as a tzibur. Leispal afil yacham musar shtayim achas chayva sayim achas nadava, and musar also not that the imam is not in korban musar because you do not
There's no nedava of Korban Musaf. Yesh when again in Shahida Shasas Baltas and Dova Shabbos Yom Tivim Shein Mafrim Be'Nedava Elachim Siyim. One of the Gein taught that it's forbidden to recite a voluntary davening or Shabbos Yom Tiv, since free will offerings were not sacrificed in these days, but only on the obligatory offering of that day.